The sun scorched my neck as I stood alone on the cracked pavement of a dusty Tijuana street. My phone dead, my wallet gone, and my wife's laughter still echoing in my head. "It's just a prank, David," Lisa had giggled, her voice sharp and playful, before she sped off in our rented Jeep, leaving me stranded in a swirl of exhaust and confusion. The joke was supposed to be funny, a quick scare, she'd said, to spice up our anniversary trip. But the minutes stretched into an hour, then two, and the vibrant chaos of the mercado around me. Vendors shouting, mariachi music blaring, the tang of grilled load in the air, felt less like adventure and more like a cage. My chest tightened. Where was she? I replayed her words from that morning, her hazel eyes glinting with mischief over breakfast at the hotel. "Let's make this trip unforgettable," she'd said, squeezing my hand. I'd believed her. 10 years of marriage, 2 kids, and a mortgage hadn't dulled our spark, or so I thought. But now sweat trickled down my spine, and doubt crept in like a thief. Was this really a prank? Or was Lisa teaching me a lesson I hadn't seen coming? I wandered past stalls piled high with bright serapes and clay pots, the vendors' smiles fading when I shook my head, unable to buy. My throat burned parched, but I had no pesos, no plan. A street dog, ribs stark against its mangy fur, sniffed at my sneakers before slinking away. I felt like that dog, abandoned, exposed. I tried to laugh it off, to cling to the idea of Lisa's prank, but my mind spiraled. What if she wasn't coming back? What if this was her way of saying something she couldn't voice at home? By the third hour, I stumbled into a cantina, its dim interior a relief from the relentless sun. The air smelled of stale beer and lime, and a jukebox crooned a mournful ranchera. I slumped at the bar, my reflection in the smudged mirror showing a man I barely recognized, haggard, eyes hollow with worry. The bartender, a wiry man with a gray mustache, slid a glass of water my way without a word. I nodded thanks, my voice caught in my throat. That's when she appeared, Susan. She glided into the cantina like a breeze, her sundress catching the light, her dark hair tumbling over one shoulder. She was stunning, not in a polished way, but with a raw, unguarded beauty that made the room pause. She sat 2 stools down, ordering a tequila in flawless Spanish, her voice low and warm. I caught her glance, and for a moment, our eyes locked, hers curious, mine desperate. I looked away, guilt prickling my skin. I was married. Lisa was coming back. This was just a prank. "You look like you've seen a ghost," Susan said, her tone light but probing, as she slid onto the stool beside me. Her perfume, something floral and faint, cut through the cantina's grit. I forced a smile, my hands fidgeting with the empty water glass. "Just waiting for someone." I mumbled, my voice rough. "My wife. She's pulling a prank. Left me out here for a laugh." Susan raised an eyebrow, her lips curling slightly. "Some prank," she said, sipping her tequila. "How long's it been?" I glanced at my watch. Dead like my phone. 3 hours. Maybe 4. Her eyes softened, but there was something else there, pity, or maybe suspicion. "That's a long time to wait in this heat," she said. "You sure she's coming back?" The question hit like a punch. I opened my mouth to protest, to defend Lisa, but the words stuck. Instead I laughed, brittle and hollow. "She's coming back. She loves me. This is just her sense of humor." Susan didn't push, but her silence felt like a challenge. She leaned closer, her voice dropping. "You don't sound so sure." I wanted to argue, to tell her about the Lisa I knew. The woman who sang off-key to our kids at bedtime, who cried during rom-coms, who promised me forever. But the memory of her driving away, her laughter sharp and distant, not at me. I ordered a beer, ignoring the fact that I couldn't pay, and Susan waved the bartender off, covering it with a quick smile. "On me," she said. "You look like you need it." We talked, or rather, she talked, and I clung to her words like a lifeline. She was a photographer, traveling solo, chasing stories in the margins of the world. Her stories, of markets in Marrakesh, jungles in Costa Rica, felt like a world I'd forgotten, one where spontaneity trumped routine. I found myself laughing, then catching myself, guilt twisting in my gut. Lisa was out there, somewhere. Wasn't she? The cantina grew louder, the evening crowd spilling in. Susan's hand brushed mine as she reached for her drink, and I froze, heat rising in my chest. I pulled back, muttering an apology, but she just smiled unfazed. "You're a good guy, David," she said. "But you're carrying something heavy. Wanna talk about it?" I didn't. But I did. The words spilled out. Lisa's late nights at work, her sudden silences, the way she'd started locking her phone. Small things I'd brushed off, rationalized, buried under the weight of our shared life. Susan listened, her gaze steady, and when I finished, she didn't offer platitudes. Instead, she said, "Sometimes people leave to see if you'll chase them. Sometimes they leave because they're already gone." Her words cut deeper than I wanted to admit. I excused myself, stepping outside to clear my head. The street was alive now, neon signs flickering, music pulsing from every corner. I checked my phone again, still dead, and my heart sank. 5 hours. No Lisa. No Jeep. Just me alone, in a city that felt like it was swallowing me whole. When I returned, Susan was still there, her camera on the bar, her fingers tracing its lens. "You're still here," I said, surprised. "So are you," she replied, her voice gentle but pointed. She hesitated, then slid her phone toward me. "Borrow it. Call her." My hands shook as I dialed Lisa's number, the one I'd memorized a decade ago. It rang once, twice, then went to voicemail. Her voice, bright and familiar, stabbed at me. I hung up, my throat tight, and handed the phone back. Susan's eyes held mine, and for a moment, I wanted to stay there, in the warmth of her gaze, where betrayal didn't exist. Then my phone buzzed. Not mine, Susan's. A message flashed on the screen, and before I could look away, I saw the name. Lisa. My Lisa. My heart stopped as Susan's expression shifted. Guilt, panic, then resignation. She turned the phone over, but it was too late. "You know her," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "How?" Susan's lips parted, but no words came. The pieces fell into place. Lisa's prank, her absence, Susan's ease with me, a stranger. This wasn't a coincidence. Lisa hadn't just left me here. She'd planned it. With Susan. "She wanted to test you," Susan said finally, her voice breaking. "She thought, if you were alone you'd slip. She asked me to watch you to see if you'd." She trailed off, her eyes glistening. "I didn't expect to like you, David. I'm sorry." The cantina spun. My wife, my partner, had orchestrated this, not as a prank, but as a trap. To prove I was unfaithful? To justify her own doubts? Or worse, her own betrayal? I thought of the locked phone, the late nights, the distance. The truth hit like a tidal wave. Lisa hadn't just abandoned me in Mexico. She'd abandoned us. I stood, my chair scraping the floor, and walked out into the night. The streetlights blurred through tears I didn't bother to wipe away. Behind me, Susan called my name, but I didn't turn back. Lisa had wanted me to fail, but the real failure was hers. And mine for not seeing it sooner.